We're learning more about the internal battle between FBI agents and prosecutors over pursuing an investigation into the Clinton Foundation, a dispute fueled by secret recordings of a suspect talking about the foundation in an unrelated corruption investigation. WSJ reporter Christopher Matthews co-wrote the exclusive story with Devlin Barrett, and Chris joins us now with more details. Hi, Chris. Great to see you. Do we know exactly what FBI agents heard on these tapes?
We don't. That's sort of the million-dollar question. We don't know who was on the tapes, what they were saying. Depending on who you talk to, the strength of what was on those tapes is in dispute. I have been told that it's not, whoever was talking on those tapes wasn't directly involved in the Clinton Foundation, and because of that, prosecutors saw it as hearsay, but we don't know exactly what was said.
So whatever was said was enough to make FBI agents want to pursue it and prosecutors to say it's too weak, it's just hearsay. That's the crux of it right now, right?
Essentially, there's a little nuance in that prosecutors, I think, would say, we didn't say don't pursue it, but we say don't overtly pursue it. And by that they mean don't go to grand jury, don't interview third-party witnesses, don't send subpoenas, any action that could have the potential of making the investigation public in an election year. So they're saying you can do other stuff, but we don't want this getting out there. There's an election going on.
So we know that this led to an in-house dispute. Do we know how fierce the fighting got, and how unusual is this for an agency like the FBI to have these sort of in-house fights?
I don't think the fighting's common.
Yeah.
People have different views of cases, and agents are often known to want to push harder than the prosecutors, and the FBI can be reined in by prosecutors. That said, I picked up on real acrimony here, and I haven't seen it to this degree. The thing that strikes me is I'm not sure either side is really talking to each other. It almost feels like they need to go to a family counselor and sit down and air their grievances.
It's so interesting because in your piece you point to some internal finger pointing at Robert Capers, correct? Where he seemed to be playing both sides of the argument, or that's what some are saying internally?
That was how the FBI felt. Rob Capers is the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, Brooklyn, and some other areas, which is actually Loretta Lynch's old job, who is now the Attorney General. But the FBI felt like Capers was telling them to pursue it, while meanwhile telling his bosses in DOJ that the FBI wouldn't give it up. Now, it should be noted that the Justice Department apparently sent out an email to everyone involved in the investigation saying, go slow, don't go aggressively. Right. So Capers' conversation saying that the FBI was still pursuing it was sort of updating the Justice Department on the fact that, you guys said no one should pursue it, and oh, by the way, the FBI is still pursuing it aggressively.
Right.
So I think, he's sort of stuck in the middle here in some ways.
And what about Andrew McCabe, the FBI Deputy Director? He didn't entirely escape some internal finger pointing either over this, right?
Right. He's now #2 in charge at the FBI headquarters in D.C. And so there were multiple offices involved in this investigation, but one of the primary players is the New York field office, which is in Lower Manhattan, which is, I think, the biggest field office in the country, among the most aggressive, as you would expect. And they were pursuing this aggressively, and essentially they felt like the Justice Department and the FBI in D.C. was telling them to stand down.
Right.
And that was, they felt like, coming from McCabe.
And so where does this go from here? It certainly is not making the FBI look great.
No, I think, obviously it could have some impact on the election. Yeah. I don't know exactly where the investigation is going to go. I think there's a dispute over how strong it is, so we'll see.
That will continue. That dispute will continue.
Yeah, I think the real worry for both agencies is that this tarnishes what people think about how they do business, and that's an issue that they're going to have to deal with.
Absolutely. Christopher Matthews, thank you so much, and congratulations on your story.
Thank you very much. Thanks.